Namaste. I'm Alakananda Ma, Ayurvedic doctor and principal of Alandi Ayurveda Gurukula, a unique apprenticeship style program in Boulder, Colorado, offering 2-year Ayurvedic practitioner and 4-year advanced programs. So with the big total solar eclipse coming up on April the 8th, I wanted to talk about navigating the eclipse cycle. What is the Ayurvedic and Vedic approach to eclipses? Eclipses represent both a danger and an opportunity. Eclipses are a tremendous opportunity because it's like a cosmic window. And during the time of an eclipse, your mantras become supercharged. So don't waste the special opportunity for prayer, recitation, mantras during the eclipse. But for outer life, eclipses represent significant danger. Take care traveling, take care driving. Be very mindful when you meet people, when you talk with your loved ones, because the eclipse can bring an intensity and a feeling of chaos. There's also, we need to understand about the eclipse shadow. For the past couple of weeks, we've been in the shadow of the lunar eclipse. That is the beginning of this eclipse cycle. The lunar eclipse takes place this evening, Sunday night, actually, while the moon is up. It's a full moon eclipse, but it's not a total eclipse. That full moon eclipse starts the shadow of the total solar eclipse on April the 8th. So this extra care with everything we do, we need to have this extra care for the whole 2 weeks of the eclipse shadow, and not just on the day of the eclipse itself, though especially, of course, on the day of the eclipse. Don't make big decisions while we're in this eclipse shadow, and especially on eclipse day. Let me tell you a story. Some years back, Sadananda, my soulmate, bought a beautiful shiny blue bicycle. When did he buy this bicycle? On an eclipse. He bought the bicycle on an eclipse. What happened when he bought the bicycle? First of all, he was a little bit late walking over to the place where the bicycle was to be sold. And he, the customer, was subjected to a torrent of abuse from the person selling the bicycle. It turned out, after the bicycle was bought, that it was very much overpriced. It was a pretty bike, but there were things wrong with it, and it shouldn't have cost as much as it cost. Well, this was not good. Then Sadananda went with the bike to Ideal Market, popped in the shop, came back out. No bike. The bike was stolen. So this is a beautiful story to illustrate how we should not make big purchases, big decisions over an eclipse. So there are some do's and don'ts for eclipses. You may or may not agree with them. You may think some of them are superstitions. That's okay, but I want to make sure you know them. First big don't watch the eclipse. Again, you may not agree with me. Our beloved friend, Swami Paramananda, the last total solar eclipse, he took off to Wyoming to watch it. To him, eclipse practices are a superstition, and as an advitin, as a practitioner of the non-dual, he had no truck with such superstitions. But to many of our spiritual teachers, they do emphasize the importance of staying inside, not watching the eclipse, because the eclipse is considered extremely inauspicious. I've given you the information, you decide. Don't eat during the eclipse. That darkening of the sun affects your Agni. Fast. Have a penitential mood. Don't eat or drink. Fast. Wait to eat till after the eclipse. Definitely don't be cooking during the eclipse, because your food will fill up with eclipse energy. And some do say that you should cover your windows if you're in the path of totality for a total solar eclipse. We did this one time. Amma Karunamai told us to cover our windows, and even though the eclipse wasn't visible, we went around the whole ashram and covered all the windows, and we stayed awake and we chanted and prayed, because that is one of the do's of eclipse. Do chant mantras. This is such a sacred window. This is such a special time. Don't waste the eclipse. If you don't have all the time, at least at the height of the eclipse, take some time to chant your mantras. Your prayers will be especially powerful. Your mantras will be supercharged. And from now on, after you chant your mantras during the eclipse, there'll be an extra charge given to your mantra practice. Do stay indoors if you agree with me. This is the practice. You don't have to agree. Personally, I will try to stay indoors. You don't have to. You might think that's a superstition. Stay indoors. Keep your mind on God. Try not to go off to worldly things. You can start thinking of things in a very out of proportion way, very unbalanced way. Keep your mind on God during the eclipse. What to do when the eclipse is over? Take a nice shower, put on fresh, clean clothes. Now, this one always puzzles me because all the clothes in my closet all went through the eclipse, but apparently it's the ones that I was wearing that were more exposed to the eclipse energy. This is how I've been taught. Put on clean clothes after the eclipse, cook some fresh food, and if, like me, I confess, you do eat leftovers, because we have refrigeration and it's a convenience, all the leftovers should be discarded. So plan ahead not to make leftovers to have from before the eclipse until after the eclipse. These are the teachings. You may follow them, you may not follow them, but at least, at the very least, take care, be extra mindful. Through the whole shadow of the eclipse, be extra mindful, and at the very least, during the eclipse, do some prayers, do some mantras, keep your mind on God, and have a beautiful eclipse cycle. Namaste.